So in this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate how to set up Gravity forms to take either a payment by check or direct debit and still add them to a MemberPress level using GravityPress 3.x, basically 3.0 or higher. It's a pretty interesting use case. It's pretty somewhat complex to set up, but let's go through it, and I'll just talk about the different options and the theory behind it. So again, the idea here is that you have a membership level, and I'm just going to show you my MemberPress level that I have set up here. You can see that most of them are monthly; they're recurring, and so this can work. This should be able to work for either. In this particular case, I'm going to use a one-time payment kind of system. So instead of a subscription, it's going to be a one-time payment. And we're basically allowing somebody to pay for a one-time payment by check or by direct debit. Now the reason I'm choosing a one-time payment is usually because we can't set them up on a subscription with a credit card, that this level probably makes a little more sense. It expires after a certain amount of time, and then you have to kind of wait for their next check to come in the mail or their next direct debit to be able to and get that before you can renew their membership. So what I've done is there's a free one too. We're not going to use the free one because that's different than what the nature of this video. There are some similarities, and you could technically use elements of this video for signing someone up to a free one as well. But we're going to look at like just a regular one-time payment. So in this case, if I go into like Titanium membership, I'm charging $100, a one-time payment. It expires after 1 year, and you can adjust this as you see fit. But let's just assume that's the thing we're trying to get somebody to send us a check for, or direct debit. Now on the actual Gravity form, we have to think of it this way. We're not obviously going to, the Gravity form can't know whether or not someone sent the check. Only you as the business owner or your client will know whether they got the check or not. So we need to basically hold, when someone signs up and fills it out, we need to basically hold up their membership so that they're not added to the MemberPress level until the business owner receives that check in the mail and then can go into the site manually and confirm that. Or if it's a direct debit, you get an email, right? So either way, there's a manual human element to this. If you're doing direct debit, then in this case, I'm using sort of like a check example where they just select check and then they'll send it to you afterwards. If you're using a direct debit, you might replace some of these fields with like a single text or a couple of these to get their routing number and account number or something like that. So anyway. And it's up to you how you want to set it up. But what I want to just show you is, in this particular use case, it looks like this. We have a form, put their email in, then the bare minimum for creating a user in WordPress is an email. You can also add first name and last name, it's up to you. And then, and let's just do that just for the heck of it so it looks a little nicer. But I'll just throw that in there, why not? Then we have a radio button option. This can also be a drop down. It's just a plain drop down right here, or a radio button down here, and it just allows them to choose between credit card or check, or this could be direct debit. And so if they click on credit card, they're going to see actually a few things. They're going to see a credit card field show up, and this field is actually not supposed to show up, but I'm going to leave it up there just so you can see how it looks. And then there's also it says choose credit card. If I click on this, it says choose check. Now these are drop downs, but they only have one option each. Drop down fields they're product fields, so you'll need your Stripe or PayPal add-on or something like that. And they only have one, like I say, and they're just for GravityPress to be able to know what level, what MemberPress level to add your new member to. That's the only reason these exist. And there's two of them because they do different. They have basically a different payment, a different amount. You can see one. Well, actually, we'll get into that. But it's a little complex. You can't just do this. You can't just put both options on the same drop down. Like you can't just put credit card or check on there. Titanium credit card or Titanium check. you can't just put that in there. There's some technical reasons for that, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to say you'll have to do it this way. But there's a nice way to make it look nice on the form. And so you're going to need this. This is obviously going to be something that you're going to want to make required for your customers. And then we're going to create, again, all I did was take this product, drag it over here, product field, and drag it over here. And then I would, to do that, you can just, again, make it either a drop-down or a radio button. These are the two options that you're going to want to use. You can technically also do, I think you can do a user-defined as well, but that's probably another video that would cover that in. So for the credit card one, again, I'm using titanium, and because this is I'm charging $100 for this, I leave this price as is because that's what I want them to be charged, when they enter their credit card information. So that's going to be really important. Then for this one, we're actually going to set, and so by the way, just to get these options in here, again, this is just standard gravity press functionality. You go down here to MemberPress. The easiest thing I've done is just like stick them all in, and then I just delete the ones I don't want. So for the sake of simplicity, you can leave these in if you want to give them options, I guess. And then in this case, you would show this field to them. But I'm just going to get rid of that and then just leave this one. And now what I'm going to do, though, even though the level is $100, $100 for this, I don't want to charge them anything, right? All I want to do is get their, their confirmation that they're going to send me a check by mail, or I'm going to get their direct debit, their routing information. And so I'm going to set this to 0, and that's going to allow me to add them for free, or kind of like for free, but it's not. It's going to be adding them to that MemberPress level, but only after I, as the admin of the site, approve them after I get that payment. So anyway, so again, what you want to do in this, because we're going to be hiding these fields, so I would say always use a drop down. It makes it easier. And so, or if you use a radio button, then you're going to want to make sure to always click on these. If you want to be double careful, you can also click on them too. It doesn't really matter because drop down only shows one choice and it will be selected no matter what. But I'll just go and just for the sake of it, just highlight these so that there's no risk of them not being selected. Now the important thing with this is we're going to set up some conditioning. And so the condition we're going to set up is show this field if the payment was set to credit card, as says it up there, choose credit card. And for this one, show this field the payment is set to check, right? So that's what we have. Now, interestingly enough, I'm also going to be putting them as hidden fields. But it's still, this is kind of a little counterintuitive. Even though it says show or hide, it's still going to be hidden and it's still going to work. So I'm going to hide these in both cases. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just do a dry run with them shown, and then we can hide them afterwards and verify that they're working. Then the credit card, same idea. I'm actually going to just show that when payment is credit card. Why have this field show up and cause confusion otherwise, right? The total field, I would also say I'm just having it in here so that we can see what we're doing. But it's not necessary. You can actually get rid of this, and I would say get rid of it, especially if one of these is going to be 0. It's going to confuse people. So you might, if you need a total or whatever like that, you could probably do some calculation field or something like that using product. There's some other calculation fields or number if you need. So I think number has some calculation. So if you can get creative how you do that so that if someone selects one field or another, it shows a total versus the actual grabbing it from this amount. Anyway, so that's it. That's the way it looks, at least. And again, it looks like this. You can see the difference. Now we're going to go into just make sure our feeds are set up. I'm going to first go into GravityPress, and this one I'm going to create 2 of them. This is important. One feed will be for credit card, and one feed will be for a check, and they're both going to run on conditions. So basically, as we always say, if you see the number 5 show up here, this will show up automatically as 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Always just make sure to select the number 5 to match that. And then you can add whatever you want at the end. I added credit card at the end. Then choose credit card. I'm basically selecting the credit card field here. And that's going to basically add the user to that level with MemberPress. and then only going to show up, only run this feed if payment is credit card. So that's pretty straightforward. And I'm doing this also for the check or the direct debit. Same idea, but this time I'm choosing check field. Everything else is the same, and only run if it's check. Just so that I'm going to disable that, just so if I've done this earlier, it won't cause any clashes or anything like that. Yeah, great. Then I'm using Stripe in this example, and I'm also going to throw on there, this is a product service. If I had more information, I would do that, but basically I'm just going to do the condition. Actually, in this case, you can choose to either turn this on only if payment is credit card. That's totally fine to do. Yeah, why not? Let's just do it for the heck of it. You don't really need it. It probably will work without it, but just to be nice and orderly here. This is an important part, the user registration feed. And so I'm creating a new user. You can fill out all this stuff if you want, first name and last name and stuff like that. But most important, email, have that set, and then want to choose a role for them. What I'd say is most important is that this is what you're going to want to do when you're accepting a check by mail or a check by, Bora, or just getting their banking information. So by turning this on and setting it to manual or by form notification, it allows you, the admin, to go in there and approve them. Now you can see kind of what the difference is. If you set it to email, it'll actually send the user an activation link. You don't want to do that, otherwise they'll probably click that and then they'll get their membership without paying or sending you your check. But manual allows you as the admin to do that. Now, if you need it, you can always set up a notification in this form to say, hey, this person needs to be approved or whatever. And I think there's even a way, there's an activation URL, as they say right down. I can't move my mouse, but if you can see at the bottom of the screen a little squiggly activation URL merge tag, that means you could send yourself as an admin a notification with the URL so that you can even email. Once you get the check, you could just click that URL from your email and approve them automatically without having to log into the site. Forgot is we are going to be either taking their credit card or a check. Now, if it's a credit card payment, there's no reason why we should hold up a user in limbo. They've already given us their money, so why should we not just add them immediately to their MemberPress, MemberPress level, right? It's only when they're giving us a check or they're giving us their credit, their bank details, and we have to wait on that we need to hold them up. So I've created this one feed. We could call this let's call this check, and then let's enable a condition for this too. Again, same thing out here. We're just going to do this for check, and then we'll create another one. It's a nice thing about Gravity Form, so you can create a bunch of different conditions. We'll create another one for credit card. So we're going to go through email, first name is all set, and then select role. Just do author again. And this time I'm not going to click on the user activation. I'm going to leave that alone, but I am going to put to payment check. Credit card. So now it should run as a credit card instead of the other one. So depending on which one I choose, I'm either going to be added immediately to the MemberPress level, or I'm going to be put in limbo as a customer. So let's do a test. I've already created a page on the front, basically on the front end of the site. Create a page and embedded the form in here, but I'm not going to actually test this form while I'm logged in as an admin, which I am. What I also say about GravityPress, never test functionality while you're logged in as yourself, as your admin. You always want to log in as either a non-logged in user, or so you want to try it as a non-logged in user, or you want to log in as one of your kind of test customers that you've created. So I am going to start oops, that's not right. I'm going to open a private window in Firefox, which is what I'm using. You can do this in any browser. And let's just stick the URL And here, and again, I'm logged out. I'm not my admin self here. I'm what your customers would be experiencing. So I'll just put my name, Joe. I'll just say Smith. And that's not my name, but you get it. And here we go. We have that. Put an email if you want to receive the notifications. You can test it with a real email, but this is just to see if it's working. So let's start with our credit card first to see if it's actually even working at all and if the system works. Now I am leaving this to show the field here. When we're all said and done, we're going to hide this, and we're also going to hide the total, but it just gives us an idea of what's going on. Put in our fake credit card number. You can find this at stripe.com help section. Put in some fake information here, and then this is ready to go. So it's adding me to the level, it's charging my fake credit card, and it is registering me as a new WordPress user. So it's doing all three things at once. So it says it's done. Let's go and let's see. This is the current transaction page before I've done anything. These are some of my old previous tests that I've done. So let's see if my new user shows up as expected. Okay, and we see that it has. So we have Joe Smith now, new user, email, paid with Stripe, etc. So this is a typical setup with credit card and MemberPress, right? Now let's test what happens if we go the other route. And so we'll switch back. We're going to log out, and I think the easiest way to do that. Okay, good. We're logged out now, so we can just go back to that test form, and we'll just say Jill Smith or something, just to give it some difference here. And another email. Now we're paying with check, same level. It's just we're not going to be charged with anything. We're just, or right here you might put give us your bank details fields here, or you might put your address here with an HTML box, or just send them an email afterwards, confirmation. Ready to submit, and let's see what happens. So I submit that, and let's go back to our transaction. And as you can see, nothing changed. It's only Joe Smith here. There's no Jill. Same transaction. So that's good. That's what we want. We don't want that to have been added. We do want, so we know it's probably in limbo. So what we could have done is if we got an email as the admin with the activation URL, we could click that. But we can also go into the form here, and here's Jill Smith's record. We're going to click on this, and we see that everything's ready to go. We can either choose to activate user here, which is an easy way. You can just kind of review her information here. Or the other route, of course, is to go down to pending activations for this form, and you can do it more in bulk. This is the one I tried earlier, so we can delete that one. But this is the one I believe that we just did. And so theoretically what should happen is as I activate this, it should, let's say I've received Jill's payment by check, or I've received her bank details and got my payment. If I click activate, then this disappears, and I can go to my transactions and see if that came in. And now I see Jill Smith here. So Jill has been added, and it is ready to go. And of course the gateway is unknown because it doesn't actually, there's not an actual gateway of check, built into MemberPress. So it's one little, it's a minor pet peeve, but it's a workaround that still is pretty effective, and you'll just have to know that that this was probably a check payment if you see an unknown in your system versus if you see the specific credit card or PayPal or whatever. All right, well, that is how you set this up. Again, there's different ways you can tweak this and adjust it for your needs. The one thing I did want to show real quick was how do we hide some of those fields. And so again, all you have to do for that is just click on the hidden, and I would hide both of these fields because it's not really important to the user. There's no options anyway. There's just one option each. And so they're going to get selected whether they know they're selecting it or not. And then I would hide the total or remove this field altogether. Just remove that one. And that way when you are, we can just try it real quick just to showcase that it does work, because it's always important to make sure that. So we'll just say, again, John Smith 2, and stick that in there. Let's just do a credit card to make sure it's all working. And we're submitting that. Let's go and check the transactions, and we see John Smith 2. So it did work out. Even when we hide those fields, they still get selected and they still send them to the right MemberPress level. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us.